Welcome to another game of GP Damascus. And this time we have Espithel versus Epid. So Espithel is on Rejuvenationless Rejuvenation, the exact same list that I'm running. They got the list from me about 10 minutes before the submission deadline. So this is going to be their first time playing this deck. So they mulliganed their starting hand. I forgot what it was. Well, either way, this hand isn't really keepable either, so they're going to have to go down to 5. And Epid is on Casino Scam. Or at least the blue-black confirmed hypothesis / poison deck that's running the Casino Scam combo as a win con. Well, Epid's hand is also sort of bad because there's 2 buy times and then nothing to do with them. But it does have 2 Cosmic Sinkholes, so Epid can counter stuff for the first 3 turns and then see what they draw into. Meanwhile, Espithel just doesn't have anything to do in early turns, and that's really bad as Rejuvenation because the point of that deck is to ramp early and ramp hard. So it looks like both players have kept. And Espithel starts off with the top down turn 1. Not exactly what you want to do as Rejuvenation. And Epid draws Wish to See. They still don't have a target for it though. It's going to be a pretty slow game. And actually, somehow Espithel not drawing any 1-drops. Well, no, not drawing 1-drop is bad. But not having any early ramp somehow doesn't actually punish them that much because Epid has nothing to use Cosmic Sinkhole on. Espithel draws another land. And at this point, all they can really do is play a land and pass, and I guess hope to get to turn 4 and conjure eyes. Okay, Espithel is fetching right now. Or no, they're not. They're using Shifting Grove right now, I guess. Well, I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter when you crack these things, because you don't really have anything to do with your mana. You're going to crack it for a Forest Island. I guess Espithel is going to fetch the tapped Forest Plains. And Epid draws another land. Yeah, pretty awkward draws from both players this game. Epid just plays a land and passes. Okay, so Espithel finally draws the card that they can play. Yeah, they can play a Forest and then play Off-Road Servers and pay through Cosmic Sinkhole. Not that Epid really wants a Cosmic Sinkhole, a 1-drop at this point in the game. At least prevents the option. And playing Off-Road Servers is still probably what you want to do here because if you draw a land next turn, then you can use Off-Road Servers to get to 5 lands, which means you can conjure with 1 mana for backup in case one has a Cosmic Sinkhole, or I guess that doesn't matter because your opponent's going to Cosmic Sinkhole for 2. Okay, another Wish to See with no targets. I mean, Epid's just going to play a land and pass. If they can crack Shifting Morass for an off-color land so that they can Cosmic Sinkhole for 3 eventually. Espithel probably wants to crack the Wayfarer's Shrine before they accidentally draw another basic. I guess they didn't get punished for it. So they can Conjure Eyes this turn, and that's going to get countered by Cosmic Sinkhole, but it might just be good to do just so that you're doing something proactive. Well, either way, Espithel's cracking their Wayfarer's Shrine for a basic now. So since Espithel is completely new to this deck, I wonder if they realize how few fetchables this deck actually has, and how you really want to fetch all your fetchables as soon as possible because you really don't want to draw them. I guess now Espithel's thinking about whether to attack with Off-Road Servers or use it to play a land. I would probably use it to play a land because that means next turn if you draw a land, then you have 6 mana, you can or you have 6 land and you can Children of the Clouds. Instead, Espithel is going to Amber Hills. Is there any point in playing Amber Hills untapped instead of just playing the Forest? They're planning on attacking with Off-Road. No, they don't attack with Off-Road Surveyors. Well, surely you're going to Conjuring Eyes now, right? Wait, what? That's not how the card works. Or okay, I guess. Wait, what? Okay, I guess Espithel doesn't realize that the top ability doesn't cost, or the first ability that puts land into play doesn't cost any mana. I mean, if the first ability did cost mana, then Off-Road Servers wouldn't be running this deck because that's absolutely horrible. And Off-Road Servers is already the worst card in deck and only being run for curve purposes as is. Well, anyways, Epid Cosmic Sinkholes the Conjure Realities very cleanly. So right now, what can Epid draw? Actually, discard spell would be really good here. So the Mind Falters, that means Espithel has to discard either a Children or a Conjure. And then you're kind of risking... Well, no, Epid didn't draw any of the good spells. They draw another land. So yeah, And I guess they have Cosmic Sinkhole for 3 now. And okay, Espithel draws Shifting Cascade. They can do End of Turn Children of the Clouds, or they can Conjure Realities. If they do decide to Conjure Realities, that's going to run into a Cosmic Sinkhole for 3. I mean, if I was in Espithel's position, I'd probably go for the End of Turn Children, but no, Espithel is just going to go for Conjure Realities, and that's going to get Cosmic Sinkhole. And notably, Espithel tapped out of white mana. So that means if Epid top deck a discard spell, then Espithel can't empty their hand in response. So it seems like, right, Espithel looked through their library before Epid had the opportunity to play down the Cosmic Sinkhole, so I guess they're calling Judge now. And then Espithel decides to swing with Off-Road Surveyors. And Epid gets to fetch end of turn, I guess. While getting Ares Pillar, although they don't have blue mana to activate it yet. Yeah, Ares Pillar. Good news for Epid is that they didn't draw another land. In fact, they got Infectious Eagle, which is a really good card. Although not in this situation, because Espithel can sacrifice Off-Road Surveyors to it, so they don't have to sack lands to it anymore. And then next turn, Espithel can Children of the Clouds and sack the birds to Eagle. And wait, Espithel's thinking. The choice is pretty obvious. You just sacrifice Off-Road Surveyors because you need 6 lands for Children of the Clouds. And Off-Road Surveyor just doesn't do much right now because you've already ramped up. You have out of lands in hand to use with it. Okay, good. Espithel sacrifices the correct thing. And they're going to end up turn shifting Crag. And yeah, they make Forest Island. I would have done there too. And even if they draw a land here, that's alright. Okay, Untouched Wild, that's amazing. How many fetchables? Yeah, they have plenty of fetchables left, so Espithel can Untouched Wilds get back 6 lands, right? Yeah, or 5 lands, but yeah, so the Untouched Wilds get back a bunch of lands. And then they don't have Children of Clouds for a good amount right now, but they can do it next turn. And if Epid decides to discard Espithel, then they can still flash out Children of Clouds in response for 2 or something. But yeah, now Espithel's up to basically infinite mana. Well, not infinite, because this deck, despite having this many lands, this deck still does run out of mana, or needs more mana than that, even. But Espithel's looking to get a really insane Children of the Clouds next turn. They can Children for 13, right? Yeah, or not 13, 10. And Espithel is probably more than happy to just sacrifice one of their fetches to Infectious Eagle. I guess they can also sacrifice one of their token lands. They might want to might want to keep around the fetches just so that they can thin their deck next turn. Wait, is Espithel handing stuff over to Eagle? But they also got the poison counter, so wait, what? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe there's a misunderstanding between the players. Wait, so why is Espithel giving lands over to Epid? Because, like, Espithel already is poisoned, so Soulbreaker is going to be triggering anyways. And like, Infectious Eagle isn't going to kill Espithel with poison before Espithel just dies from damage, so there was no point in handing over a land to avoid the poison. Wherever the case may be, I don't think it matters. Well, no, it matters a lot, but Espithel is still in a pretty good spot because they have a giant Children of the Clouds coming up. So are they going to Children of the Clouds with 3 untapped mana so that they can play around Cosmic Sinkhole? And okay, Nariba, that's also really good. So if Children of the Clouds plan fails to work, then they can start using Nariba to draw cards. Is Espithel going for Source Speed Children? Yeah. I don't think you want to go. If you're gonna play Children before your opponent draws into a counter spell, you should be doing it on your opponent's upkeep, so that if they decide to Cosmic Sinkhole you, then they have to tap their mana. If it didn't have a Cosmic Sinkhole in this case, it doesn't matter. But yeah. So now, Epid can still attack into the Children tokens because they have Wish to See, so they want Infectious Eagle to die so that they can keep reviving it and getting the triggers. And actually, something that isn't obvious, or a decision that isn't super obvious, is that if Epid attacks with Infectious Eagle, do you sack a creature or a land? First instinct would be to sack creatures because they're more expendable than lands, but at the same time, Your birds are what you're using to clock your opponent down. But Infectious Eagles has lifelink, so I don't think you're really racing this. Because sacrificing birds is also fine. Epid is not going to confirm Hypothesis the trigger. And are they going to trade 4 birds for the eagle? Okay, yeah, they do decide to trade, and they're going to get punished by the Wish to See. So I guess if I was in their seat, then not knowing what's in Epid's hand, I probably would have traded too. I guess if I tried to think harder, then I'd realize that Wish to See exists, and I'd rather trump an eagle each turn rather than just and then strand Epid without a Wish to See target. Epid's not going to Wish to See. Wait, so then what are they trying to do? Are they going to end of turn buy time? That doesn't do anything, right? Yeah, just make Epid lose because, yeah. Oh, Espithel uses Nariba. Oh, Epid's going to copy Nariba with confirm hypothesis. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. They want to leave maps so that if they confirm hypothesis Nariba and draw into counterspell, they can still cast it. And they draw into Black Home using. Okay, so they have the combo in hand. And yeah, okay, I see why they left mana up. Or at least they got rewarded for leaving mana up because they can do end of turn buy time and then the combo and then win from there. And lands. Yeah, not what Espithel is looking for. Kind of a shame that they don't have any revelations in the graveyard because a lot of what keeps rejuvenation or rejuvenationless rejuvenation going after you run out of steam in hand is that you have a bunch of revelations in the graveyard that you used earlier, and now you have all this mana, you can coalesce the revelations. But instead, you're just, since Espithel doesn't have any of those guys, you're just kind of forced to use Reba a bunch. And Epid doesn't end of turn buy time to win. Did they just miss lethal? Like, they had the win, right? End of turn buy time. And then next turn, like, you even have Blood River and Darklands Charm in hand. So, like, you have the full combo in hand. I'm pretty sure you have the mana to do it, right? You Black Hole Musings, and then you can just keep going until you flip into a land, and then you Wish to See. I guess Epid can do it at sorcery speed, right? You can just buy time at sorcery speed, and then Black Hole Musings, and then next turn they Wish to See and Blood Rivers. So I guess they still win. Yeah, Epid fetching, and then does Amber Hills fetch anything? No, right? Oh yeah, I guess that's why Espithel gave Epid the Amber Hills, because it doesn't fetch anything in Epid's deck. Okay, yeah, that's pretty clever. I didn't realize that. Oh yeah, so that's why Epid didn't buy time end of turn, because Amber Hills isn't actually a mana source for Epid. Wait, in that case, they might not actually have lethal, right? So buy time, so they can buy time, and then next turn they don't have the right mana to Wish to See plus Black Hole Musings. Okay, so yeah, Epid doesn't have lethal right now, but they definitely have the win next turn, right? Like this turn, Epid can just play Black Hole Musings, or no, Epid can just end of turn buy time, or this turn. Yeah, so Epid passes, and then end of Espithel's turn they buy time, and then now they get 2 turns in a row. On the first turn, they Black Hole Musings, exiling their entire deck, and on the second turn they Wish to See Blood Rivers and attack for lethal. I think Epid still has the game in the bag right now. I don't think Espithel has any cards in their deck that can stop the combo. Epid passing the turn, and yeah, I think they realize that they have the win. Espithel draws Realms Overturning, so I think they probably want to play it now because they're kind of in a race against the clock to win before Epid gets the combo off. And yeah, Espithel can Realms Overturning and then Nariba and hope to draw into stuff that would let them continue to chain off. So actually, if Espithel gets a good enough combo, they might not lose, because Epid's combo is a damage-based combo that has a hard limit, because Black Hole Musings has power equal to the number of cards in your exile. And like there's a hard limited number of cards that you can exile because your deck has a fixed size. So if Espithel gets a good enough combo turn and plays Children of the Clouds for a big enough number, then maybe they can just gain life out of Black Hole Musing's attack range. So that's basically Espithel's only out right now, even though they might not know it. And if they're going to go for that combo, then they're going to play Realms Overturning first. Okay, yeah, they play Realms Overturning first. And then they follow up with the Nariba activation, probably. Then they're still left with times 3 mana, so 18 mana left. So hopefully draw into stuff. Oh, okay, yeah, that's unfortunate. That's not what they need. They really wanted to draw into more card draw. And that's sort of the problem with this deck when it doesn't draw its revelations, because with Realms Overturning, at least, you really want revelations in your yard when you go off, because they let you continue the combo even if you don't draw anything relevant. And Espithel is just taking the walk of shame, looking at the mana they have but can't use. And no, they're not even going to attack. I guess there really isn't any point in attacking at this point. So Epid's going for end of turn buy time. Or they're going to Darklands Charm first. And I guess at worst it's basically anticipate that also, or it's an instant speed strategic planning. I mean, there really isn't much of a need to Darklands Charm because you already have all the pieces in hand, but I guess maybe you want to find a counter spell just in case Espithel has something. Well, I guess Espithel's deck has one main deck and about things, so that could be something that Epid wants to play around. Although, like, they don't really need to dig now because Black Hole Musings will exile your entire deck and let you put 2 cards into your hand, so you can just dig up a counter spell off Black Hole Musings. Actually, does Epid have a way to stop an Annabelle things from wrecking them? Yeah, their only counter spell in main deck is Cosmic Sinkhole, and they can Cosmic Sinkhole for up to 3, but they probably have way less mana after comboing off. So, yeah, if Espithel had Annabelle things, then they could wreck Epid combo. So Epid might be thinking about playing around that. And they're also not sacking Shifting Crag, even though they probably should. And they even get another land, although it's going to come into play tap because Epid has no life to pay. But yeah, Black Hole Musings, I'm assuming. They're going to Wish to See first. Or, oh, they already had Black Hole Musings in the graveyard. I didn't notice. When did that get there? Well, that makes it a lot easier. They can just Wish to See now. And yeah, so Black Hole Musings, Wish to See lets you recast your Revelations from graveyard. And then Black Hole Musings lets you exile any number of cards from your deck, and you pay 1 life for each of them. But since you have play time up, you don't care about losing that, or you don't care about losing life. You just exile your entire library. Then Black Hole Musings, the creature gets power equal to the number of cards in exile. So now it's an absolutely gigantic creature. And then you use Blood Rivers to give it haste, or you can just use buy times extra turn to get rid of its Summoning Sickness, and then use Darklands Charm's third ability to give it unblockable, and then attack for lethal. And yeah, that's game 1. So I think Espithel still made the right play there. They had to go for it, otherwise they were dead. And if they did draw it into something like Fulfill Twisted Dreams plus Children's Clouds, then they actually can just make an insane amount of mana and Children's for something like 90. And then if they're at 90 life, then Epid can't actually kill Espithel with a giant Black Hole Musings, even over 2 turns. So they just die to buy times claws. Looking at sideboarding, Epid probably just wants to bring in more counter spells. They also have Blood Ritual, which is an interesting Grave Hate card. Do they want to bring in Violent Collapse against the birds? I don't think so. Or actually, maybe they do. Well, either way, they're definitely bringing in Thought Blossom and Blood Ritual, and those cards are really good against Revelations, or the Revelations in Rejuvenation. Because Thought Blossoms, well, first of all, it steals their cards, and it also prevents them from going to the graveyard, so you can't even recast them. And then Espithel, meanwhile, mostly just wants to bring in Forbidden Treasure, a counter spell against spell-based decks. If they manage Forbidden Treasure part of the combo, then, well, actually, no, then Espithel doesn't exactly win, because Epid's deck still has the backup plan of the blue-black Poison Core as a solid mid-range deck. And they want Sacrificial Bowl. Does Epid's deck have graveyard stuff? You can like Sacrificial Bowl to exile stuff in response to Wish to See, so you might want to bring that in, but I'm not sure. Okay, we're back for game 2, and okay, Espithel gets an actually good hand now. They can do turn 1, Log a Recluse, drop a land, turn 2, Recall Forgotten Aeons, drop another land, and then turn 3, Conjure Realities, I guess, and see what you hit. And yeah, Espithel just snap keeps this hand because this is exactly the sort of hand you want as Rejuvenationless Rejuvenation. you're getting a turn 1 ramp, turn 2 3 mana ramp, and then turn 3 do whatever. Epid gets a hand that's not as good. Blood Ritual will deal with the Revelations. And okay, Epid does keep this hand. I guess they're planning on playing turn 2 Soulbreaker, or turn 2 Soulbreaker just as a body and then swinging. So Espithel probably thinking about what land to play first, but it's always Wayfarer's Shrine, because yeah, there's no downside to Wayfarer's Shrine first for Forest. And then they play Lager Recluse turn 1, dropping Mysterious Cataract. Since Lager Recluse always puts it into play tapped, it negates the downside of playing 2 life. Or like, you're not going to play 2 life anyways, because Lager Recluse always puts it into play tapped. And Epid still doesn't draw a good early game card. Actually, yeah, Blood Ritual also answers Touched Wilds. Epid's deciding to play for Flooded Morass first. And I guess Espithel's fetching during upkeep. Then, oh, okay, they get Untouched Wilds. That's even better than we call Forgotten Aeons right now. And yeah, they got the nut draw. They can play Shifting Cascade, cast Untouched Wilds, sack Shifting Cascade in response, and then Untouched Wilds brings back 3 lands. And they manage to do it on turn 2, where before Epid manages to get enough mana for Blood Ritual. And like, Epid getting a tap land on turn 1 is really unfortunate here, because if they did have an untapped Black Source, then they could have Blood Ritual in response to Untouched Wilds and completely blown out Espithel. Well, I guess it's not a complete blowout, because you just blank your opponent's turn 2 Untouched Wilds, but Espithel still has Recall Forgotten Aeons in hand, and Conjure Realities lined up, so having untapped black for Blood Ritual there to exile 3 lands would have been good, but not game-breaking for Espithel. But now that Epid doesn't have, or didn't manage to stop the Untouched Wilds on turn 2, Espithel is going into turn 3 with 7 mana. And yeah, that just showcases this power of Rejuvenationless Rejuvenation when things go its way. You're getting 7 mana on turn 3. And like, it's not even that unlikely for you to get the nut draw as Rejuvenationless Rejuvenation. You just need a turn 1 mana dork, and then turn 2 1 to 3 mana ramp cards. So yeah, now that you have all these lands, what is Espithel going to do with that? They might want to Conjure Realities. I think they might just lead off with Recall Forgotten Aeons, just to see what they hit. Or actually, Espithel can Conjure Realities, tutor something, and then abound the Recall Forgotten Aeons. I think that's probably the play you want to go for. And then I just have to figure out what you want to tutor with Conjure Realities for the future. Actually, maybe you just want to Conjure Realities for Children of the Clouds, and then, yeah, because Children is going to end the game in short order. Well, no, not end the game, but it's going to take over the game in short order if you manage to get down early enough. And yeah, Lager Recluse is also a clock, so Espithel can Conjure Realities, getting Children of the Clouds, abound Recall Forgotten Aeons. They even have 3 mana up to do that, so they get to play around Cosmic Sinkhole. Although, actually, Epid doesn't have Thought Blossom mana up either, so Espithel doesn't have to play around that. So yeah, Conjure Realities. Okay, yeah, Espithel does, or no, they get Recall Forgotten Aeons off to Conjure Realities. Okay, I mean, not what I've gone for, but still not the worst thing in the world. Okay, and they draw Fulfill Twisted Dreams, so yeah, they can play an extra land off. Oh, if it's just going to concede. Yeah, I guess it's a bit demoralizing to play against a deck that's managed to get to 7 mana on turn 3 and it's just going off. It seems like we'll be settling things in game 3. And Epid's probably hoping to draw a hand with more counter spells, or at least untap Black Swords for Blood Ritual. Since Epid's on the play now, they can stop Espithel's ramp shenanigans before Espithel can go under their counters. Well, either way, Espithel keeps a pretty good hand, I guess. You have turn 1 Lager Recluse, and then hope to draw a land. And get to turn... Okay, yeah, they got their turn 2 Flawless World. But since Epid's on the play, they get to do turn 1 Cosmic Sinkhole on the Lager Recluse, and that's going to slow down Espithel by a lot. And they even get to follow up with the Thought Blossom on whatever Espithel is going to follow up with. And okay, Epid even gets the buy time, but they have parts of the combo in hand. If they can survive to if they can survive for long enough, then they have to win. So Epid probably playing Swamp and holding up Thought Blossom. Or no, Epid's going to lead off on Shifting Brass. Yeah, I guess Epid figured that since Espithel doesn't have 3 mana on turn 2, they don't need to hold up Thought Blossom because all of Espithel's non-creature spells start at 3 mana. And now Espithel has another Log of Recluse, so they get to go to 4 mana on turn 3, but that's nowhere as strong as 3 mana on turn 2. They get to do Conjuring Eyes next turn, which is going to get Thought Blossomed. But better for Conjuring Eyes to get Thought Blossomed than Revelation. Actually, not even no, not really. They're both really bad, because if Conjuring Eyes gets Thought Blossomed, then Epid gets to cast Conjuring Eyes to get their combo pieces. And Epid can Conjuring Eyes, fetch a combo piece, and then bound Blackcomb Musings. So something like Conjuring Eyes for Wish to See, and then bound the Blackcomb Musings. And then now they have Wish to See with Blackcomb Musings in the yard. And that's one part of the combo setup. And they get Blood River. They're probably just going to pass a turn holding up Thought Blossom. Yeah, passing a turn holding up Thought Blossom. And Espithel draws yet another land. Although they're not really complaining at this point. They have stuff in hand. So they're probably going to Conjure Eyes now. No, they're going to Flawless World to bait out the counterspell, I guess. I mean, that's actually, that's an alright play. Just get the Flawless World countered so that you can Conjure Eyes for Recall Forgotten Aeons, which is way more important. The problem with getting Conjure Eyes countered is that now Epid can use Conjure Eyes to fetch combo pieces, as I mentioned earlier. Well, the good news for Espithel at least is that Epid, even if Epid draws an untapped land next turn, they still can't combo off and win from there. Actually, if they draw an untapped land, they probably will just play Conjuring Eyes. Okay, yeah. So let's see. Let's see if Epid goes for that plan, where they play Conjuring Eyes, and then they tutor up Wish to See, and then they abound the Blackcomb Musings and just use it to draw a few cards, not paying too much life. And Epid passes the turn, so they're not going for Conjuring Eyes. Well, in that case, then I guess they're going for end of turn buy time. Isn't that a bit premature? Like, they don't have enough resources or mana to win if they end of turn buy time, because they get 2 turns in a row, but they don't have the mana to get Blackcomb Musings into play with Blood River plus the Charm. And Espithel just naturally draws Recall Forgotten Aeons, and they're probably going to cast that. Or I guess they can also conjure Realities for something else, and then, so something they can do is conjure Realities for Forbidden Treasures, and then abound the Recall Forgotten Aeons and hope to draw into a land that they can play. And then now they get to pass the turn with, instead they're not even going to Recall Forgotten Aeons, they're going to Flawless World, which I guess makes sense. Okay, yeah, that's unfortunate. And wait, Espithel is going to attack the Log of Recluse. Okay, yeah, I think that might just be a game-losing mistake, because now Epid doesn't need to find Darklands Charm in order to attack the lethal Blackcomb Musings. I think Epid can just go for the combo now. Then again, I guess Espithel, if I was in Espithel's seat, I might not have thought about that either and just attacked the Log of Recluse because I had extra mana lying around and nothing to spend it on. But not drawing an extra land there off Flawless World was a bit unfortunate, because if Espithel did draw an extra land, then they would have played the land and played Recall Forgotten Aeons and not have attacked the Log of Recluse. At least I assume that's what would have happened. Wait, actually, the Conjure Eyes isn't even necessary, because if it can just Blackcomb Musings, exile their whole deck, and put Wish to See into hand. I'm pretty sure Epid has a deterministic win now, so I'm not sure what they're going through the motions here for. I mean, they're just gonna, like, the right play here is just to exile your entire deck, so you should just look at your entire deck and then put it into exile, and then put the cards you want into your hand. Okay, but like going back to what Espithel did last turn, so one of the plays I was mentioning was Conjure Eyes for Forbidden Treasures, and then abound the Recall Forgotten Aeons to hope to draw into lands. That play wouldn't have worked out anyways, because Espithel didn't draw into lands, but if they did, then that would have been really good, because now you can Forbidden Treasure the Blackcomb Musings and prevent Epid from winning off the combo. I guess at the same time, if you went for the Conjure Eyes play and you didn't draw into lands, then you wouldn't be tempted to attack with Log of Recluse, which would have actually prevented you from losing this turn, because then you would have a blocker and forced Epid to find Darklands Charm, which they don't have mana for. Or actually, no, because They have Shifting Morass. Yeah, okay, never mind. They do have mana for it, right? Or maybe they don't. Yeah, they don't have mana for Dark Lance Charm plus Wish to See, so plus Blood River. So yeah, leaving Logger Recluse on top there would have prevented Epid from winning. But that's the sort of thing that you really only see in hindsight. Or I guess when you're a spectator that can see both players' hand. Actually, I wonder if Espithel knows that you can conjure Realize and abound something other than what you tutored for. Because that is like not super obvious. Because most of the time you are just using conjure Realize as a spell that costs 3 or less and cast it. But a lot of times when you're playing Rejuvenation, you can also use conjure Realize as a 1 mana tutor spell and then get a 3 mana rebate on some other card that you're casting. But anyways, I think Epid has the combo down. They're definitely taking their time going through a combo just to make sure they screw nothing up. They're also going to confirm hypothesis of the Shifting Morass for more mana. Okay, yeah, I guess in that case, then Darklands Charm wouldn't be necessary. Or, I mean, Darklands Charm, or Epid would have enough mana to cast Darklands Charm. Actually, not really, because they have no way to find the Darklands Charm plus a Wish to See plus Confirm. You can only take 2 cards off Blackout Musings. So yeah, Wish to See on the Blackout Musings. Bring it back as a creature. Now, yeah, Epid gets to play Blood River, giving Blackout Musings haste, and Blackout Musings swings in for lethal. And they even had enough mana for Darklands Charm if they had it in hand. And yeah, so Rejuvenationless Rejuvenation loses to Casino Scam. I think Espithel did pretty well for a first timer, or for their first time playing this deck.